Hey guys, this is Frozen Ding Studios here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today I'll be reviewing Rocky 4. So, Rocky 4 is the fourth installment in the Rocky franchise and is directed once again by Sylvester Stallone and stars most of the same cast: Sylvester Stallone, Carl Weathers, and a newcomer, Dolph Lundgren. And Basically, it tells a story of Ivan Drago, who is a very tall tall and tough Russian fighter who is known to be one of the best trained the most successful, the most well trained fighters in the world. And when it comes to US, everyone doubts him when he said he wants to challenge Rocky Balboa, but everyone doubted that he could beat him when the Russia tries to convince the US that Drago is actually stronger than Rocky. Although Apollo Creed ends up being the one to challenge Drago instead of Rocky Balboa. Unfortunately, things turn into a complete disaster because Ivan Drago's skills and strengths have completely shocked the world. Not only that, but Ivan Drago kills Apollo Creed in the ring. So a devastated Rocky Balboa, who spends pretty much most of the second half of the film grieving towards Creed's loss, trains to come to the Soviet Union, aka Russia, to get revenge on Ivan Drago in the boxing match. So yeah, Rocky 4. This is gonna be something very interesting, yeah, because I've had some history with this movie because fun fact, people, this was actually the first film in the original Rocky franchise that I saw. Yes, no joke. I mean, yeah, even first over the very first Rocky movie. The reason why I saw this is because I actually saw Creed first before the Creed movies first before Rocky, because I knew about the Creed movies and I didn't know about much about Rocky at that time. But Creed 2 was is essentially a follow up to Rocky Forest. It was like a connecting storyline because you got the Drago and Adonis Creed fighting for his father. So I decided to like check this out because I was curious to see like how Apollo Creed died in the ring. And yeah, and I really enjoyed this movie at the time. I really do. I really dig this movie, and I still think about it to this day. And that fight scene, I still rewatch on YouTube. You probably know which one I'm talking about. Yeah. So now, yeah, I was very excited to watch this movie, actually, to revisit this movie. I was very excited to talk about this movie, talk about why this movie is so good. Unfortunately, this movie was panned by Rotten Tomatoes. So it only got like a 30 something percent at Rotten Tomatoes, which yeah, I can't stand Rotten Tomatoes. But yeah, I don't care what they say. I was hoping that this movie would still hold up well. And does it hold up as an underrated gem? Absolutely. Rocky 4 is hands down the most underrated in the franchise. I love this movie. It is fantastic. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect movie. I won't get into the flaws right now because I think I would say the flaws are mostly the beginning of the movie. Yeah, I will say that the beginning as well was an absolute struggle to get through. Yeah, because yeah, the first 20 minutes it kind of bored me. I was like, oh boy, is this movie gonna be as good as I thought? Yeah, the first 20 minutes I just didn't really care for. But um, I also do have some nitpicks that I would easily forgive personally. I mean, Creed can be a bit arrogant at times and can be a bit annoying, especially like when he keeps insulting the Russians. But I mean, I don't mind that, but at the same time, it's a little annoying. And also, Adrian was a tad bit unlikable in one scene. I was like really annoyed with her. It's like, my God, why is I mean, is Adrian really a hateable character? I was asking myself that. But also another flaw is that Apollo Creed's wife, Mary Ann Creed. I think she could have contributed more to the story. She only appears in the boxing match scene. But she was very important in Creed, the Creed movies, because essentially Creed's like Adonis Creed's mother. and she really she should play a bigger role here to for us to like know who this character is. So yeah. But other than that, I think that's where all my flaws lie. Now let's get into everything I love about this movie. Um, Now, despite criticizing the first play, man saying was a struggle to get through. The part when Rocky and the part where Apollo Creed, sorry, I keep mistaking him with Michael B. Jordan's Apollo Adonis Creed. When Apollo Creed and Ivan Drago fight that moment, that fight scene instantly picked up the movie and it became fantastic. Um, Creed versus Drago, that fight scene is my favorite fight scene in the Rocky franchise. No, not counting the Creed films, just the ones with the title Rocky in it. Um, I love the fight scene for so many reasons. I think Rocky fans should know that this is the most important fight scene, and maybe arguably the most important moment in the entire Rocky franchise because sets up the future of the franchise, and especially with the Creed films. Yes, Creed was not planned. Creed was not planned like the Creed movies, but yeah, I mean it really does have a strong connection to this movie because it was about Apollo Creed's son. So yeah, so this fight scene really made a strong impact. Now, if it wasn't for the Creed films, I think this movie would have been just okay-ish. Like it could have been like I could have been like, oh, it's just entertaining. It's and very cheesy and over the top, but I just didn't really care that much. I mean, that's how I would have reacted on its own. But as a movie that connects to Creed, I think this does it really well, and I really dug this movie. I mean, that fight scene was where Creed dies, of course. And man, it was such a travesty. It was such a this disaster. I mean, I literally teared up. I almost teared up. Watching Creed die, even if I knew he was gonna die, I kind of like felt really bad for him. I mean, I love that Creed actually made the decision to continue the fight when Rocky wanted to stop it because he knows he's not gonna make it out alive. He knew that Drago was not really fighting. He was just trying to beat him up, and but then Creed was like, I don't care. I still want to fight. Yeah, he pretty much committed suicide because I think he knew he was gonna die. So yeah, I mean, I love his sacrifice. He thinks that death doesn't matter. He wasn't afraid of dying. So and I love that. But and also like I think Ivan Drago might be my favorite Rocky antagonist. Again, not the best in the entire franchise if you count Creed. Um I prefer Victor Drago over Ivan Drago. I think Ivan Drago was much better in Creed 2, in my personal opinion. And for sure, I'm very sure David Anderson in the upcoming Creed he will be the best um Rocky like best antagonist in the entire um Rocky franchise for some reason. But I'm really excited to see Damien Anderson like Jonathan Majors character. I mean, Draco is absolute ruthless. I mean, I love how everyone doubted him, and he really seemed like a really weak person. I mean, in that fight, with Creed, he literally tried to intimidate him. He was like, saying, "Oh look, I'm weak. Just keep hitting me. I'm weak." But and then suddenly he literally like whooped his ass, and like it was so brutal. I mean, it was really suspenseful. And I mean, I wonder how people who saw this movie for the first time back in 1985 reacted. Although I feel like that they should have kept Creed's death a surprise because I think that the plot summary really told us that Creed was gonna die. I think they should have like kept that a surprise, like a shock value. But yeah, we all knew he was gonna die, but it doesn't really matter because I still kind of felt his death. And even after that fight scene, the movie still was able to pick up well, and there's so many important things that happened. Thankfully, the entire second half of the movie really the entire second half is still great. It doesn't go downhill. There's so many like really good plot points. I was never bored throughout the second half. Besides the first 20 minutes, I was never bored. I mean, I love the Rocky as a character, really grieving over Creed's death like the whole way through. I mean, there was a scene where Rocky was driving and he had that PTSD. He was like thinking about his memories with Creed, his rivalry, and his great memories with him. That actually reminded me of a certain scene in one of my favorite shows of all time, Cobra Kai. The very first episode that showed, they had a scene where Johnny was driving and he was thinking about his past, his chemistry with Daniel, like his rivalry. That's what that scene in this movie reminded me of. I think Cobra Kai, when they did that scene, they referenced um that Rocky Four scene, the driving scene. That's my theory, and I love that. That was such a beautiful scene. That's such a beautiful scene, and then we got Rocky really desperately wanting to have a match against Ivan Drago in Russia, um and his whole arc is to like get revenge. So yeah, we see him in Russia, and we see this really intense training montage. Although sadly, it doesn't really sadly there's no sadly the training montage in this scene didn't have the iconic montage music. I mean, that was like pretty much the greatest music for a training montage you could ever use, but in this one, they decided to use a different music. I thought the music was fine, but was nowhere near as good as that iconic music. Well, but I mean, I didn't really mind because at the very least, to make it up for not including that iconic track, they included "Eye of the Tiger," which you all know. I already explained in my Rocky 3 review how much I love that song. Um, and now we get the final battle between Rocky and Drago, and man, that fight scene was almost just as good as the one with Creed. Maybe not better, but man, I love it almost as much. Probably better than any scene in any fight in this OG Rocky franchise. I love that the final fight. I mean, Drago. When he had, I mean, we see throughout the fight we see Drago with a bloody mouth, and man, he looks absolutely creepy. I mean, he looks like a horror movie character. I mean, I was creeped out looking at that. His bloody teeth, and yeah, it was absolutely epic and super intense. I mean, literally, like there were some super cheesy moments in that final battle, like with the, um, Drago tossing a Rocky around. I mean, this movie really embraces. This movie is really cheesy. It takes the franchise cheesiness to a whole new level, but it embraces that cheesiness. I mean, um, and like going back to talking about the Creed versus Drago fight. Like literally when Ivan won and he made this warrior speech, that was like probably the cheesiest motivational winner speech I've ever seen. Like the way he spoke, like it was so cheesy, but I dig it. I really dig the cheesiness that was shown in this film. But in the end, yes, Rocky won, but I really cheered for him, and I was rooting for Rocky all the way, especially when Ivan was like taking him down so many times. But I really wanted Rocky to win, and Rocky won, and man, that was like he really did the impossible. Like seriously, Ivan Drago is probably the most powerful. Is the most powerful character in the entire Rocky franchise. He's undefeatable, and Rocky defeating him is just as luck. And man, I love that. So overall, Rocky Four is my favorite Rocky sequel, excluding the Creed films. Because the Creed films are still my favorite in the entire franchise. So I'm referring to the OG Rocky franchise. And in the OG franchise, I still think Rocky One is the best one in the OG, but Rocky Four is a very close second. I mean, this is the most important film installment in the Rocky franchise, building up to Creed, which may not be planned at the time, but I mean, but when it comes to connecting this with Creed, I love this movie. It is fantastic. Is it perfect? No, but I love it. It is amazing. And with that said, I'm gonna give Rocky Four a 9 out of 10. Okay, well, now you might be asking me, wait a minute, Frozen. Wait a minute, Frozen. You gave Rocky 2 a 10 out of 10, yet you called this movie, even if you gave it 9 out of 10, the best Rocky sequel. Well, here's the thing. I will admit, I gave Rocky 2 a bit too much credit in my review. I think Rocky 2 is a 9 out of 10, a lower 9 out of 10 than this one. And on reflection, I did realize a few flaws, but yeah, I think I just enjoyed the Rocky 4 more. So also for my review of Rocky 4, what is your opinion on this movie? Do you agree with me that Rocky 4 is an underrated gem and the best Rocky sequel, not including the Creed movies? Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my review of Rocky 5. Oh boy, I've heard bad things about the film. I have no idea what to expect going into it. So yeah, bye guys.